Hello friends and enemies, welcome back to Happy For Now. It's me, Isabel, here with a Will I Won't I video. These were popular last year-ish. I'll link to a few down below. They're really fun where you ask people to give you authors and you say if you've read them or not, if you will, if you won't, etc. So I did a video sometime in 2020, I believe, where I talked about a bunch of authors I won't read. I will link to that down below. I can do another round of that if y'all are curious. If you have other authors you're curious about, feel free to let me know in the comments, because there's definitely some authors on my like not interested list have been added since that last video. And I'm pretty open here on my channel, I feel like, about authors I have zero interest in reading, so this is gonna be fun. So I solicited for authors on Instagram, Twitter, and my community tab on YouTube, and y'all delivered quite a list. We only have one non-romance author, so that was funny, and I'm not surprised. But I got some interesting ones here that I'm very excited about. All right, the first author we have is Emma Chase, who I have read from before. I read her Royal series and I read Tangled by her, but I read her a long time ago, like in 2013, which is not a critique, but like, you know, again, I was reading these when they were coming out in 2016, I think. So I was reading her Royal series as they were coming out, sort of, or close to when they were coming out a long time ago now. And I enjoyed them, they were fun, but I did stop after book 3 because I'm not a huge royalty romance fan. And then I read one of her books from like 2010, which is Tangled, or 2013, not 2010, so from the early 2010s. That's wild. So yeah, I've read some Emma Chase, not all of Emma Chase. I read her Audible original teacher romance, Getting Schooled. That was cute. I enjoy Emma Chase. I think she's a really fun popcorn contemporary author. By popcorn, I mean you just kind of read it and you can't stop, or you do stop, but you're enjoying the whole ride. So that's what I equate her to. Next we have Vikki Keland. I have read from her. I have read quite a few books from her. I read predominantly, you're going to notice that a lot of the ones I've read with her are her collabs with Penelope Ward. I read Boss Man. I've read The Baller. I read Dirty Letters, which again, Penelope Ward. I honestly am indifferent on them at this point. This is an author where I was reading them in my early romance reading times, earlier romance reading. I didn't start reading romance until pre-2010, but like I've not been reading it for my whole life or anything like that, obviously. So I was reading these back when they were in their height of romance, and I don't dislike them. They're fine. They're just not what I'm gonna go reach for these days. So yeah, I read Vikki Keland, not a ton, mostly her collabs with Penelope Ward. Next we have a great one, Jasmine Guillory. I have read Jasmine Guillory. I do not like Jasmine Guillory. I do not enjoy her books, really. They read often to me like I like want to write romance, but I don't want to read the genre, because sometimes they just feel so, I don't know, out of place to me. They are usually closed door, which is not my jam. Generally speaking, I'm very picky about my closed door romances. They also are, for her as an author, often she acts as though she's the first. And I'm not okay with that, like, because we can't, like, there were a lot of firsts before her, and it's weird when she like acts like she's the first one to do these things, and she's not. So Jasmine Guillory is not really for me. I've also looked to my Black friends who have read her books and have very valid critiques of her representation of Black people in these books. I highly recommend you check out Black Chiclet's podcast episode where they read The Wedding Date and pointed out some really interesting things. If you love her, I'm happy for you, but Jasmine Guillory is not for me at the end of the day. Next we have another one that I feel like is going to be controversial, but it's Mariana Zapata. Yes, I have read Mariana Zapata. I was reading Mariana Zapata a long time ago and I really enjoyed a lot of her books, but I've seen a lot of really interesting and valid criticism of her, and honestly, at this point in my life, I don't have time for a 500-page slow burn. Nor the interest in one, to be honest with you. I'd rather read 3 other books in the time it would take me to read that one book. I do think Mariana Zapata is really talented at writing slow burns, but I don't think she's the only one that can do it. And some of the criticisms I've seen are that she will often make weird comments about foods that are related to a character in the book. So I believe in Dear Erin, she has the character who is like Filipino make fun of Filipino food in a weird way. And like Mariana Zapata herself is not Filipino. So I don't know, it rubs me the wrong way. She's fine. I totally totally see why a lot of people love Mariana Zapata, but again, she just doesn't really work for me anymore these days. And like I said, I'm super duper uninterested in 500-page books, generally speaking, so that's just where we landed. So yes, I've read her. No, I won't be reading her again. I mean, I could pick up a book, you never know, but she's not high on my priority list to read soon. Next we have Chloe Elise, who is very high on my TBR list. I really need to pick up Chloe Elise because I own rep for autism and ADHD and some of those things. I really want to read her books. They look right up my alley. And I do plan to read Chloe Elise sooner than later. Should I do like a Chloe Elise reading vlog where I read a bunch of her books? Because I will, I'm happy to. But yeah, I really want to pick up the Bergman Brothers. I am especially interested in whichever Bergman Brothers book has the grumpy heroine. And I believe she has a cane and arthritis. So again, really, really excited, really interested in that. And I think Chloe Elise is one of those new up and coming authors that we're only gonna see get more and more popular. Okay, next we have Denise Williams, who wrote The Fastest Way to Fall and How to Fail at Flirting. I really want to read Denise Williams. I have not read her yet. I love her current cover situation that's happening. These are really cute. The Fastest Way to Fall, I love that we have a fat heroine on the cover who is jogging with another person. That is probably the first one I would pick up. If you have somewhere you think I should start, let me know. I'm also interested in her airport series. Those sound so interesting. The Love Connection and Misconnection. I think that those sound really, really fun. But yeah, Denise Williams is on my TBR. A lot of my friends that have read her really liked her. So if you have one you think I should pick up, let me know. Like if you have one you think I should start with, let me know because I'm happy to and I would love to. Next, we have Megan March. What do I say about Megan March? No. I have read Megan March. I will not read Megan March ever again. She is in my Authors Behaving Badly video from the beginning of 2021. I will link to that down below if you're curious. Megan March is an avowed Trump supporter. And I firmly believe that some people can separate art from the artist, but I do firmly believe that your beliefs are tied into a story you create. And if you are someone who truly feels that strongly about protecting other people and the mask mandate during the height of COVID, not that COVID's still not a thing right now, but you understand what I'm saying, like when we were in lockdown and stuff, if you were speaking out against that, I'm gonna judge you a little bit. A lot of it. I'm gonna judge you because honestly, it's just, if your whole being hinges on like being contrary and not to the better good for all, not gonna read your books. I also do not like her cash grab methods of every book is a trilogy and ends at a cliffhanger until book 3 where we get our HEA. I just think it's a money grab. I firmly believe it's a money grab. And I don't like when authors do that routinely and that's like their business model. So yeah, Megan March is a no from me ever again. I have read her and I will never read her again. I also didn't love a lot of her representation of the South always. I don't think she nailed it. If I recall, she has like an Eastern Kentucky book heroine, and it just like is not great. Next we have Stacey Reed, who is on my TBR. All right, next up is Stacey Reed, who's on my TBR. I would like to read Stacey Reed. I know that she writes historical romances, which again, lately have not been my jam. I'm working on trying to read them again and get back in because like we do have the new Sarah McLean coming out at the end of summer in August. So I will be reading that, of course, but I would like to read some more. I do have a lot of historicals on my TBR. I just am not always in the mood for historical lately. I don't know, I've been in a very like paranormal monster-y mood lately too. Love to read Stacey Reed. I know a lot of my friends love her books, so she seems right up my alley and exactly like a historical writer I would like. Next we have Shelly Lawrence, whatever. Anyways, she writes some of the funniest titled books and books that a lot of my friends also love. I have tried to listen to an audiobook from her and I did not love the audio. So I do at some point want to pick up the Honey Badger romance series from her via ebook sooner than later because honestly, these seem right up my alley. What I listened to I really liked the characterization and the writing. The person who dropped this also mentioned that they feel like she's kind of a divisive author. A lot of people don't like her books and a lot of people do. So it varies a lot. She doesn't work for everybody. And I always like an author that doesn't work for everybody. Usually, not always, but I find that enjoyable. I think it's interesting. It makes it more exciting, right? Gives some variety to your reading. So I do really want to read Shelly Lawrence at some point, hopefully maybe this year, we'll see. I'm not the best at picking up things, as we know. I'm very much a go with the flow mood reader, and I just pick up whatever's calling my name at that moment. Okay, next we have Jen Deluca. So I have read and met Jen Deluca. I read the Well Met series from her. I read the first book, really, really loved it. I have a signed copy of it actually, because I met her at the Bookmarks Fest in North Carolina one year when she came, and I really, really enjoyed that book. I did skip book 2 because I heard it wasn't great, so I skipped that one, and I read book 3 and it was okay. I will probably read her newest one. I just really love the settings in her books. Even when I don't love the plot and stuff, I still really like the setting she's built with the Renaissance Fair. So I do keep reading them. Like, besides book 2 that I literally was like, no one I know likes this, we're skipping it. So yeah, I like Jen Deluca. I think Jen Deluca is a really fun author. I really love the premise of the Ren Fest for a romance series. I think it's cute, it makes sense. And it every time makes me want to go to the Ren Fest. So next we have Ginny Darling. So I don't read a lot of motorcycle romances, and which means I have never read Ginny Darling. I still don't know if I want to read her or not. I do think I would read her mafia romance book, which is When Heroes Fall, but the Fallen Men series I am 50-50 on. I do have an audiobook for the first book in that series, I believe, and I might pick it up at some point to listen to. I'm just not sure if I would like it. I also know that one of the books is like I know that the first one I believe is like a high schooler romancing his teacher, and the third one or something is like a way older man and a younger girl who's known him since he was a kid, like she was little. It's like, I'm just not 100% sure if Ginny Darling will be for me in that front, but I would be interested in giving her a try at some point. And again, she's one of those authors that a lot of people I know love, so that makes me curious to see what I think. I've also seen some criticisms of her books which seem accurate as well, or, you know, on point for what they're trying to say about them, like what the critique is. But, you know, again, I don't have to, everything I read doesn't have to be like up here highbrow. Like, I don't, you know, I like to just read a book that's fun for fun. So that's what I'm hoping these are if I do ever start the Fallen Men series, so we'll see. Next we have Kimberly Brown, who I've never heard of and have already added to my TBR. I'm especially excited because it looks like she's a South Carolina author, and that is so cool. I used to live down there. And honestly, I'm gonna have to go dig through, see what ones my friends have read. If you have a rec for Kimberly Brown, let me know. I would be happy to pick that up. But her books look great. I love these covers. I love, oh God, these covers are gorgeous. Yeah, I've never read Kimberly Brown, and I will be picking her up now sooner than later. Next, we also have Love Belvin, who is another one I haven't read yet, but has been on my list. I have had Love Belvin on my TBR already, and I do need to actually pick up one of her books. If you have one you think I should start with, let me know again. These two are definitely authors I've had pop up in my KU circulation, which is great. Like, I love that, like, the more I read Christina C. Jones, the more Black love I get wrecked. It makes my heart so happy to like just be getting wrecked some books that I'm like, oh, I've never heard of that author, which is how I saw Love Belvin. And I think somebody wrecked her to me before too, and I just need to get to them. So if you have books by Love Belvin or Kimberly Brown you think I should read and you think I will love, drop them down below, because I seriously will read them. Because I am slowly working through my Christina C. Jones backlist, and I need to make sure I have other people to fill in the gaps when I'm done, because I don't know what I'm gonna do with myself, y'all. I really don't. Oh, this one's good. Okay, next we have Zoe Draven. Okay, so I'm part of the Bonkers Romance Temple, where like you get free books and stuff, but also they do a podcast every week-ish, where they talk about different bonkers romances, and they just did Zoe Draven. They just did her, and I really want to read it. I haven't listened to the podcast yet. I might listen to it before I read it, but they just read Captive of the Horde King, so I probably will start there. So I probably would start there if I read her. I have not read her yet. These covers are something. So I do want to read Zoe Draven. I love an alien romance. I love monsters. We know this. So of course, yeah, she's going on my will read list, want to read list. The last romance author we have on this list is Amy Harmon. I have not read Amy Harmon. I have tried to read Amy Harmon. I tried to read Making Faces, and I put that book down so fast because it deals with 5 young men going off to war, and it somewhat, how do I talk about this? Okay, my partner is a veteran. My partner is a disabled veteran. I don't talk about this a lot because it's not y'all's business technically. My partner has been in combat. Like, my partner is a combat veteran. And I tried to read Making Faces years ago and put it down very, very quickly because I did not like the opening and how we were talking about going to war for 9/11. Now, when I say my partner's a combat veteran and stuff, like, we're actually anti-war in our house. Neither of us like war. We think war is stupid. We think that it was dumb that we were over there. We should have never been there. That's a whole not conversation for this channel, but I do think that's important to note about us. Like, they are a combat vet, we disagree wholeheartedly with war, and specifically with that war. I can't say that like their service hasn't helped us get to where we are today, because it did. It did a lot for us. It paid for their college. It's really paved this really awesome career they are having now. But yeah, I tried to read Making Faces and it was not for me. And then I'm looking at when it came out in like 2013. So it centers around 9/11. That makes sense. I just don't know where to start with Amy Harmon because I am not into reading books about war or people who come back from war, because I often feel that we either gloss over PTSD and the real realities of war and what coming back is. And often authors obviously have no experience in this, and that's okay. Like, I don't require an author to always have experience, but as somebody who's been close to that, for, you know, was close to that for 4+ years, it's really hard to read that now. And also, it's just a place I never want to go back to in my head, to be honest. Like, our life now, 5+ years post military, is much better. It is so much better and we love it, but it's not like, I don't know, my partner just doesn't talk about it. Not in like a bad way. They just like, it's not like a center of mind thing, and it's not just a thing we really want to always think about. So I would be curious if anybody thinks there's a specific Amy Harmon I should try. But again, I just don't love war in my books. It's just not a place I like to go anymore in my life. So there's that. All right. Sorry, that got real serious there. So last one is kind of funny. And the person that asked this, y'all might be able to figure it out, but they asked it because they thought they were being funny. Little did they know the actual answer to this question is yes, I have read this author, and that author is Stephen King. I do not currently actively read Stephen King, but I grew up in a Stephen King household because my mom was reading Stephen King in the 80s when he first came out, and I also read Stephen King in middle school-ish. So I have read 3 Stephen King books. I have read The Gunslinger, which is the first book in the Dark Tower. I meant to continue the Dark Tower series and I never did. And I feel like at this point my time's out, I'm done. I also read Salem's Lot by Stephen King. I read Pet Sematary by Stephen King. And I read Stephen King on Writing, whatever that one's called, for middle school for a book report. I was a weird child. Anyways, I have read Stephen King. I do enjoy what I read and I hold a spot for them, but I also firmly believe like there are better horror and thriller authors out there than Stephen King, which is why I now instead read other authors. Now, that doesn't mean like, again, Stephen King's an old white man who lives in Maine. Like there are better authors out there. He definitely paved the way for a lot of authors and I appreciate that fact, but he is not my end all be all for that genre. But yeah, I have read Stephen King. So that's it for today's video. If you have recs for any of the authors I said I want to read and I haven't yet, please drop them down below. And or if you want me to do a video where I share a bunch of popular romances I don't want to read again, I'm happy to. I could do like an anti-haul, or even, like I said, the same thing I did a year ago. Or I can do the same thing I did a year ago or so, where I just talk about a bunch of authors I really don't have an interest in. Yeah, let me know. I'm happy to do either or. And if you don't want to do that, you can leave me a construction related emoji because all I can hear right now outside is this house being built about like across the road from us. It's so loud. It's so loud. But yeah, you can leave me a construction related emoji of your choice. So if you like a tractor, you can leave a tractor. I really don't. I got no preference here. I will have links to any books I specifically mentioned down below if I can, and any of the videos I mentioned, as well as links to me, my friend, anywhere on the internet. I will see y'all in a few days. Bye.
Already packing, come with me. I'm not really asking. We'll get away to a place where we don't know. About to see the world in action, what we can be, life with no distractions. We'll get